Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we have confirmation of the 4 promo cards, the pre-release promos that are going to be coming for, well, the upcoming Astral Radiance set. We saw this set for the first time yesterday, officially. We had a good old chat. Life was good. We're happy. And now we get to have a chat about the pre-release promos. Of course, the set releases on the 27th of May. That is the official release date. So the pre-releases should be happening 2 weeks earlier as they tend to do, which will put us around about the weekend of the 14th and 15th of May. And you're going to go along, you're going to get a build and battle kit, and you're going to get one of 4 promos. And we're going to rank them as we always do here, but just to the offset, right? This is really difficult. I don't think there's a real standout among these, and I don't think there's a real trash card among these, so I feel comfortable with my list of 1 to 4. Obviously I do, it's my list, but do please bear in mind that unlike some sets, this is really not an easy one to actually list them out. But in at number 4, I'm going for Weird Ear, because, well, I think it's the worst among them. Now, it's got that rather lovely ability that once during your turn lets you draw a card, and we've seen this before, and the problem is we've seen it before, and it's not seen a huge amount of play. We've seen things like Alolan Sandslash, that lets you draw a card once per turn as a Stage 1 Pokemon, and that really just didn't see a huge amount of play. It's just not been up there. We saw the same ability on Sawsbuck a little while later, and again, it came around in Cosmic Eclipse, and again, we've seen a similar thing. Stage 1 Pokemon, lets you draw a card, sounds pretty good in theory, doesn't see any play. Almost no play. So, I don't see any reason why Weird Ear would, when the other 2 wouldn't. I will say that 3 of the 4 Pokemon they've gone for here are new Hisuian Pokemon, and I do appreciate that very much indeed. They're all fairly commonly found in Legends Arceus. They're not like the weird occasional find ones, so yay! It's also got an attack. If you have the same number of cards in your hands as your opponent, you do 120 for 2 colorless energy, and it's just not enough. Like, you're hitting for weakness, but you're not getting Urshifu VMAX. Either of them. And that, for me, is a bit of a deal breaker, unfortunately. You'll get a bunch of single price Pokemon, I suppose, and you'll get the V, but if you're not getting the V max and you're putting multiple energy on a Stage 1 Pokemon and hitting for weakness, I'm sorry, that's just not going to make me happy. Hey ho. In at number 3, we've got Hisuian Basculegion, and this is another Pokemon that's getting its first ever card in this particular set. And what we've got with Hisuian Basculegion is, free energy, 80 damage, I think it's fair to say, is not a good attack. We can move on. But for 1 water energy, you do 30 damage, nobody cares. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, you deal 120 damage plus confusion. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a very different thing indeed. This I could get completely on board with. This is fine. This is cool. Thing is, it's on a Stage 1 Pokemon. So the problem is, if I'm teching this into a deck, and make no mistake, this is a tech, I've got to be playing the basic and the Stage 1, and then if my opponent's worried about it, they can just take out the basic before it gets evolving. This reminds me very much of Terrakion, which is literally one of my very favourite cards ever. It was integral to the deck with which I grinded into the World Championships in 2012. I adore Terrakion. The thing is, Terrakion was 90 damage on a basic. Now, to be fair, it was 2 energy, but Celebi Prime came along and gave you a grass energy, so that was fine. And you were hitting weakness on Darkrai, which was absolutely dominant at the time. And that's why Terrakion was so good. Celebi for the extra energy, 1-hit KO Darkrai, which was huge. 3 of my 5 rounds during the Last Chance qualifier, I played against Darkrai decks. Terrakion was the boy. The problem is, you're not hitting such a phenomenal weakness with Hisuian Basculegion, and you've got to evolve to do it. There were games with Terrakion where I was completely out of it. I had nothing on the board, but I could go from nothing to a KO with Terrakion straight away. I can't do that with Hisuian Basculegion. So once again, we got an interesting Pokemon here that's got a nice attack, but it's on a stage 1, and that worries me. So, 3 and 4, we're talking about new stage 1 Pokemon with interesting attacks that might or might not work. As we move into the top 2, we are talking about stage 2 Pokemon that are phenomenal, but are stage 2 Pokemon. So Magnezone here, we only saw this one very recently. Interestingly enough, the 2 we've talked about from Basculegion, the 2 coming up, are from Time Gazer. And weirdly, Space Juggler gives none of our pre-release promos. Sorry. And Magnezone, look, I mean, the attack, free energy, 120, nobody cares. But the ability is genuinely flat out phenomenal. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck and attach any number of metal energy you find to your Pokemon in any way you like. It's great. Genuinely, absolutely, inarguably great. And it's on a stage 2 Pokemon. And this is a problem for me, quite frankly. Because getting that stage 2 out is going to be a real pain. Now, one thing that does, is really worth bearing in mind here, Dialga V-Star. Dialga V-Star looks phenomenal. Like, genuinely over-the-top, broken, phenomenal, but super expensive. Like, really kind of borderline comical expensive. The V-Star power does 220 damage and literally gives you an extra turn, but it's for 5 energy, 4 of them need to be metal energy. That's a problem. I'm not saying you can get Magnezone working. I don't know. That's going to have to be seen over time. But I'm telling you that if you can get Magnezone working consistently, it is going to make Dialga V-Star just absolutely broken. It is also worth pointing out that Adamant is coming in this set, and that is literally just a metal version of Crash Awake. Discard 2 metal energy from your hand and then search for any 2 cards, so maybe that will allow you to get Dialga going with Magnezone, because Adamant gets Magnezone, Magnezone powers up Dialga, and off you go. I want this to work, because man, this is awesome. But I am genuinely worried it's going to end up being a little bit too slow. The thing is, this isn't a good ability. This is a flat-out, over-the-top, silly, phenomenal ability, but you've actually got to get it rolling, and that is a bit of an issue. And that means by process of elimination, in at number 1, you've got Hisuian Samurott. Now, I don't do this every set, but this is going to be one of those where a call is going to be going out over Twitter. And essentially, if I don't pull Hisuian Samurott in my build and battle box, I am going to be looking to trade for it, because the artwork is done by Kato, who is rapidly becoming one of my favourites. If you're thinking that name sounds a bit familiar, all the stadium cards lately, or all the really good ones, they tend to be done by this artist. So it's one you probably will recognise. Things like Jubilee City, you'll notice the artwork is done by Kato, or Collapse Stadium, which we just saw released in Brilliant Stars. These are Kato. A lot of them have been done by that artist lately. And yeah, now we got Hisuian Samurott. So artwork-wise, this one wins for me by a mile. But I'm not putting it number 1 because it's got the best artwork. I'm putting it number 1 because I believe it to be the best card. The ability, you discard a card from your hand and then draw 3 cards. And this is actually an ability that we have seen before. We saw this ability on, not a Samurott, but still a stage 2 first partner Pokemon. We saw it on Swampert. And we did see decks built around stage 2 Pokemon that did play this Swampert. It's a great ability. But what really makes me happy here is that for free energy, 60 damage, plus 20 more for each energy attached to all of your Pokemon. But this is basically the same thing Darkrai V-Star does. I mean, Darkrai, it's specifically Darkness Pokemon, but other than that, you're fine. And Darkrai looks phenomenal, and I expected to see a whole bunch of play, and this is a single prize Pokemon, admittedly a stage 2, that fits in really, really nicely with it. Plus, of course, with Dark Patch coming back, we've got really good energy acceleration, and then we've got both of the Galarian Moltres cards, which will accelerate energy to themselves, but then that's more energy on the board to do more damage with this attack. I really like Hisuian Samurott, And I do think the artwork is absolutely top tier. Although I will say, in terms of pre-release artwork, that Magnezone is pretty gosh darn nice as well. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's my ranking. I do think Hisuian Samurott is the best in terms of artwork and effect. But if you pull it, it's rubbish card. Trade it with your old pal. We'll see. Because, man, I love this card. For now, I want to know what you think. I want to know your ranking. I want to know which one you want to open up in your build and battle box. Whether that's because of playability or artwork or just because you like the Pokemon. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.